Mike here from Bikes by Mike with another cycling related video. Today is Health and Fitness Day. This is day 1 in my 1-year trial to see if the supplement NMN can boost my endurance. You may have already heard of NMN as it's one of several longevity supplements receiving a lot of attention by health experts like Andrew Huberman, David St. Clair, and Rhonda Patrick. But did you know that researchers are now exploring whether NMN improves endurance performance? Since this is one supplement that is rarely talked about within cycling, I wanted to explore it for myself. If you're interested in squeezing out a few more watts out of your body, you'll want to watch this video. Okay, let's get to it. In today's video, I'll start off by explaining what NMN is and how it works. Next, I'll look at some of the most relevant research studies completed to date on NMN. I'll talk about how and why I structured my NMN trial the way I did, and also the dosage I'll be using throughout my trial. And that'll be a wrap for this first episode. You've likely heard NMN making waves, especially in the anti-aging and longevity communities, where it's become quite a popular supplement. The buzz is often about its potential to support cellular health as we age. And while that's fascinating, my specific interest is different. Some early research hints that it might impact aerobic performance. And that's the angle I'm exploring for us cyclists. So putting the broader longevity claims aside, let's break down what NMN actually is and does. Think of it simply as a specific form of vitamin B3, and crucially, it's a direct precursor, a key building block for another vital molecule in our bodies called NAD. So why the focus on NAD? Let me use this illustration to make my point. We'll start with the basic human muscle, something that's kind of important for us cyclists. And of course, muscle fibers are composed of many human cells. Cells are complex and contain a lot of important components like our DNA. But what's most relevant when talking about NMN is the mitochondria, located right here. NAD acts like a crucial helper molecule or coenzyme that's essential for metabolism, converting the fuel from food, like those pre-ride carbs, into energy our muscles can actually use, expressed as ATP, the energy currency that powers our pedal stroke. Now, here's a link back to our longevity discussion. Research suggests that our natural NAD levels tend to decline significantly as we age, which is a key reason why NMN has gained attention in the longevity field. Some also speculate that intense physical stress might impact NAD levels. But you can't just supplement with NAD directly because it struggles to get into cells efficiently. That's where NMN comes in. It's like delivering the raw materials right to the cell's doorstep, allowing the body to rebuild more NAD internally, potentially counteracting the aging-related decline. This brings us back to the potential link with aerobic endurance. The theory goes, if NMN supplementation can successfully raise NAD, perhaps restoring them to more youthful levels, it could lead to more efficient mitochondrial function and energy production. For us cyclists, that might translate to improved endurance, maybe a higher threshold or even better recovery, as NAD is also involved in cellular repair. Again, I want to be crystal clear. While NMN is popular for longevity hopes, it's still very early days when it comes to human performance research. This is my personal N=1 experiment to see if I notice any subjective or objective differences in my riding over the year. I'll be tracking my fitness data, how I feel on the bike, and sharing the whole journey with all of you, separating the hype from reality for endurance athletes. Before human trials started exploring NMN for endurance, a lot of the initial excitement came from studies on mice. Foundational research by Mills and colleagues, published in Cell Metabolism in 2016, showed NMN helped older mice improve their energy metabolism and physical activity. They gave mice NMN long-term in their drinking water, up to 300 milligrams per kilogram a day. The results were significant. NMN didn't necessarily make old mice super mice, but it mitigated the typical age-related decline. Compared to the untreated control group, the NMN group maintained significantly higher energy metabolism, like oxygen consumption, and remained much more physically active. Essentially, NMN helped them resist the usual slowdown caused by aging, keeping their energy and activity level closer to those of younger mice. Other key studies, like one by Uden and coworkers, directly demonstrated that older mice given NMN could run significantly longer and further on a treadmill. Research by Di Picciotto showed MNN could improve blood vessel function and capillary density in muscles, essentially upgrading the fuel lines needed for endurance. These kinds of promising results in animal models are what really paved the way for researchers to ask, could this work in humans too? Thankfully, human research is starting to emerge, but for now, the body of research is really limited. Basically, there are two studies that are directly applicable to us cyclists looking to improve endurance performance. First up is a relevant study by Liao and colleagues published in 2021. This was a proper randomized double-blind trial, the gold standard in research, involving amateur runners over 6 weeks. They tested different doses going up to 1,200 milligrams. While they did not see a significant jump in overall VO2 max, the top-end engine capacity, but what they did find, especially at the higher doses, were significant improvements in markers of aerobic capacity. Improvements in power output between the test group and the control group were found at both the first ventilatory threshold, VT1, as well as the second, VT2. These are our lactate threshold limits, which deserve a bit of discussion as they represent two really important physiological changes in our bodies. LT1, the blue area, is the lowest exercise intensity at which there is a measurable increase in blood lactate concentration. It's what's often referred to as our upper zone 2 aerobic limit, the maximum intensity we can sustain for a long period of time. LT2, the orange area, is the second noticeable sharp rise in circulating blood lactate levels. It's the upper lactate limit at which lactate production exceeds the body's clearance capacity. It's often referred to as zone 3 power or threshold power, and represents an intensity we might be able to sustain for an all-out 1-hour effort. And at zone 4 and above, the red area, lactate levels rise exponentially, and here we're in a fully anaerobic and unsustainable pace where lactate levels are accumulating quickly. Getting back to our study, it points towards NMN potentially improving our aerobic efficiency and submaximal endurance, even if it doesn't boost the absolute peak power. We also have a more recent systematic review published in early 2024 by Wen and colleagues. Their analysis concluded that, when looking across the available human trials, NMN supplementation was associated with statistically significant improvements in physical performance parameters compared to placebo groups. While physical performance is a broad category, including things like strength or walking tests, finding positive results across multiple trials adds more weight to the idea that NMN could have real benefits for physical function. So how strong is the proof for NMN right now? Well, it's early days indeed when comparing it to supplements like creatine. Creatine's benefits are backed by hundreds of studies over decades, giving us very solid proof. For NMN and its impact on endurance, we currently have just a handful of human trials. We need much more research before it has anywhere near the level of scientific validation creatine enjoys. That's not to say that it doesn't improve endurance, just that we don't yet have the scientific evidence to say that it absolutely does. So this is day 1 and video number 1 of my makeshift trial of whether supplementing with NMN will improve my cycling fitness over the course of 1 full year. I'll give you an update midway through my journey at the 6-month point, and then a third and final video after 1 year. At the end, I'll tell you whether I experienced any noticeable improvement in my fitness while taking NMN. Digging a bit deeper into what I'm doing, this is what my year will look like. Provided I have no side effects, I'll be taking my NMN supplements and completing my fitness tests throughout 1 full year. If I like what I see, I'll keep taking it indefinitely. If I think it hasn't done anything, I'll stop. As for dosage, I'm starting off taking 250 milligrams per day and will continue this for 6 months. Then at the midway point, I'll double the dosage to 500 milligrams per day and keep that dosage for the rest of the year. I'll go into why I chose that dosage a bit later in the video. I'll test my fitness periodically throughout the year in two distinct ways to try to determine if two very different aspects of my fitness has improved. The first is my aerobic endurance, essentially my ability to sustain moderate intensity for an extended period of time, like many hours, what many refer to as Zone 2 power. By doing many indoor training sessions, I've established a rough estimate of my Zone 2 power range and will use this as my baseline measurement. I'll do several other Zone 2 test sessions throughout the year to see if the needle has moved. Basically, if I'm getting more aerobically fit, I should see my upper end of Zone 2 shift higher, which would mean I'm becoming more efficient at using my aerobic system as it's letting me produce more power at the same level of exertion. I'll also test my threshold power, which is basically my combined aerobic and anaerobic endurance. This I'll determine with a standardized FTP ramp test that I've been using for the last 5 years. I did my most recent one on March 26th, and I'll use that result as my baseline measurement for the start of my 1-year trial. I'll do at least one other FTP test at the 6-month mark, and then again after 1 year. And I'll use the results of both these test data along with my anecdotal experience to try to determine whether NMN supplementation made me more fit. Now, let me be perfectly clear here. Whatever results I get, none of my results or the methods used to obtain those results have any scientific validity whatsoever, nor do any of the other personal experiences from other YouTubers out there. But maybe, just maybe, my results will be intriguing enough to convince you and me to dig a bit deeper into what the scientific literature has to say about this supplement. Now, full transparency here, the NMN supplements I'll be using for this entire year-long project are provided to me free of charge by Arkwell. But they didn't reach out to me, I reached out to them. There are several reasons I wanted to partner with them specifically. First, they're a Canadian company with a focus on longevity, health, and nutritional innovation. To back that up, the 3 co-founders are all scientists, each with their own expertise, but combined take a science-driven approach to how they formulate, manufacture, and test supplements to ensure they are pure, rigorously tested, and highly effective. You simply don't find this quality with many supplements on the market. Their NMN is non-GMO, vegan, and gluten-free. They simply produce super high-quality supplements, so I'm confident that what is advertised in the bottle is what I'm putting in my body. Despite them supplying the supplement, all the content, analysis, opinions, and results you see in this series are entirely my own. If you're interested in trying NMN or any of the other Arkwell supplements and you'd like to support this channel, please use my affiliate link, which you'll find in the video description below. This allows me to earn a small commission on the sale, and it costs you absolutely nothing. It's a great way to keep Bikes by Mike rolling. And you can use the coupon code Bikes by Mike to get 20% off your purchase. So today is the day 1 of my 365-day journey taking NMN supplements. First things first, how am I taking this? The general suggestion is to take NMN first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, supposedly for better absorption. So that's the protocol I'm going to stick with consistently throughout my trial. Now for the dosage. Most of the human studies that showed potential benefits started at around 250 milligrams per day or higher. So that's where I'm starting. 1 250 milligram capsule daily for the first 6 months of this experiment. Because some of that early research, like Liao's study for runners, suggested that benefits might increase with higher dosage, showing the greatest effects at 600 and 1200 milligrams, I plan to increase my daily dosage to 500 milligrams at the 6-month mark. This lines up nicely with the second half of the year-long trial, allowing us to see if there's any noticeable change with the increased intake after establishing that initial baseline. Of course, safety is paramount here. What does the research say about safe dosage for humans? Well, generally doses up to around 1200 milligrams per day have been used in clinical trials and appear to be well tolerated. So I have no worries as I'm staying well below that amount. So day 1 is officially underway. I'll be meticulously tracking my training data, how I feel on the bike, recovery, and maybe even testing myself at a couple races. Stay tuned for updates throughout the year. This is going to be an interesting one. That's all I got for today, folks. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're not a subscriber to this channel, please subscribe as allow me to produce more content for all of you. See you next time. Happy rolling.